I was sitting in my room, counting minutes down for the delivery guy to come. We agreed he'd call my cell phone and I'd go down through the window so Mom wouldn't know anything. Finally, the long-awaited call rang. A juicy burger and French fries were waiting in several meters. I rushed through the window and grabbed the cherished bag, but then I heard Mom's voice. Oh no! She was just furious. She shouted at the delivery guy to get lost and stole my only hope to have a normal meal. What are you doing? What are you burning the burger for? Mom laughed ominously and demanded I watched attentively. This is how trans fats and GMO burn my body from the inside. Hi, I'm Izzy. 1 year ago, Dad left the family, and now there's only Mom and I. She was taking the divorce so hard she even developed a chronic disease. And recently she was put on a strict diet. However, she wasn't taking the doctor's prescription seriously. Once I saw her very upset. What's it, Mom? It turned out she'd seen Dad walking in the street with some young skinny wench. Mom suddenly started crying and said it seemed she'd have to follow her diet after all. Everyone around was eating whatever they wanted. Was she worse than them all? Maybe Mom just needs to be alone for a while. I went for a walk. I love this park. Dad and I often were coming here. I felt so sad. Soon a guy approached me and offered his hat. It was very hot. I could easily have a sunstroke. Honestly, at first I was taken aback by this offer, but then I laughed. This hat most probably won't fit me. Then Cody, it was the guy's name, suggested we hid from the sun in a cafe. We chatted until late and I never wanted to leave. Moreover, at home there was no fun. Cody walked me home when Mom came out. He introduced himself and claimed he wanted a relationship with me. What? I looked at him perplexedly and Mom immediately invited him to share a dinner. Oh, what's that, Mom? There were carrots, broccoli and bean porridge on the plates. I was so ashamed. I'd just got a boyfriend and Mom decided to feed him some nonsense. But Cody happily exclaimed, "Now that's what I call a healthy diet," just as he saw the dinner. It turned out he himself ate something like that, so he enjoyed this menu. Mom got excited and spent the entire night speaking of her plans to lose weight and get a guy like mine. Honestly, I didn't even know should I be happy about those plans or not. In the morning, I was awakened by some noise from the kitchen. What was happening there? I dropped down and saw Mom throwing all the food from the fridge. What are you doing? What do you mean we are starting a new life and therefore we need to get rid of junk food? Come on, it's your diet, not mine. And then I saw a piece of cake. What are you going to do with it? Mom threw it to the garbage bin mercilessly. What does that mean? She stared at me and replied, "Don't hope to slip away. It's about time you too stopped eating burgers, French fries and sweets. Fat on your insides is harmful for your health. Look at Cody. He needs a slender, healthy girl by his side." It was a blow for me. I could even tell it was a stab to my back. Firstly, I didn't need to lose any weight. I was totally normal. And secondly, my metabolism is great. Even eating at night cannot increase my body mass. And thirdly, pizza, burgers, French fries and cakes are my fave foods. No diet was prescribed to me. During the day, I hadn't eaten anything. Mom threw all normal food away and instead covered the table with greenery, nuts, germinated wheatgrass and other nonsense. But no, I'm not going to starve. I'd ordered burger and French fries delivery, and to avoid walking through the living room, I decided to climb out of the window. The delivery guy promised to wait in a distance from the house, and when he called, I rushed to the lane. Finally, I'd have a normal meal. Just as I grabbed the bag, I immediately heard from behind, "Drop this rubbish." I turned around and saw not my mom, but an enraged bull ready to finish both me and the delivery guy off. She drove him away, accusing him of working for the world evil, and then grabbed my bag with hatred and burnt it down right in front of the house, repeating this was how trans fats and GMO incinerated my body from the inside. If Cody doesn't come now and take me away from here, I'll just die of hunger or of fury. Oh, who's there in the distance? Cody! Oh, how I've been waiting for you, dear. Let's go somewhere, hurry. We headed to the road when Mom called us. She approached as if nothing had happened and started chatting with us nicely. Mom, we must be going. Cody's invited me to a restaurant and we are late already. Suddenly she addressed him. Please choose healthy meals. My daughters decided to stop eating junk food too. And even better, let's all have dinner at home. I wanted to reply, but Cody immediately and gladly said yes. They'd spent the entire evening speaking of healthy diet, and he complimented Mom on the way she looked. But I didn't care. I was so hungry I could easily eat them both, and the house too. And then I recalled I had a stash of chips. I immediately left the table, grabbed the pack as if I was obsessed, and ripped it open. And just as I'd put the desired slice into my mouth, I heard terrible words. Mom said Cody'd better date someone like her, who was taking care of herself and the food she ate. What is this? I dropped the pack and furiously ran back. Hey, I've heard everything. What does that mean? I didn't have time to finish talking because everything went dark and I fell somewhere. I came to my senses in a hospital. The doctors said my body just wasn't used to starving, and this, together with heart stress, led to such a reaction. Mom begged to forgive her and confessed she just wanted to be slender and beautiful again, but keeping the diet alone was impossible, so she made me do it too. And Cody just clouded her mind. She thought a healthy and slim woman could easily find a young husband. And by the way, Cody never showed up again and never called. Must have thought we had a crazy family. Well, then he's not my destiny. Anyway, he wasn't that wrong. Soon Dad visited me. He was so nervous he almost cried. Come on, I'm fine. They promised to release me in a couple of days. He breathed a sign of relief, and then he addressed Mom and started complimenting her. She seemed so happy then. Hi again. I'm still Izzy, and today I was discharged from the hospital. Soon Dad would come to have a dinner with us and bring his young business partner. Mom and I are busy. She cooks beef steaks with veggies, and I prepare a tasty pizza. And there's the cake for dessert. Oh, seems they came. Mom, open the door. Dad entered, and after him... What? Cody? What are you doing here? Did you like the video? Subscribe and give us a like. Support the channel. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Emma. Tell me, do your parents support you in your hobbies and your dreams? Or do they forbid everything in the world and decide how you will live? My mother is a very strict woman who controls my every move. Unlike my dad, to whom I tell everything because he always supports me. And my mother is even against the fact that I play in a rock band with Lisa, my best friend, considering it nonsense. How can that be? I decided that I would prove to her that this was not just nonsense because my favorite band, Night Guards, was coming to our city and they announced that whoever sent them the coolest video with their performance would open for them. Super! That was all I needed! I was also happy with my mother's news that she was promoted at work, which meant she would have to work more. Hooray! It meant that she would control me less, and I would be able to rehearse as much as I wanted to. But even then, she managed to break me off. Man, before leaving on a business trip, she loaded me with so much work around the house that I could only dream of recording a music video. I worked like a slave for 4 days until Lisa called me and asked me to a party. She said there would be a lot of college kids there and that we could use this party to record a music video. Of course, I agreed and ran to my father to ask for permission, telling him about my dreams and the competition. My father supported me, as always. He let me go, but on one condition. I had to call and ask my mother for permission. As if I could just do that. This was a complete failure. So I lied, saying that I would definitely call, and I left, not having fulfilled my promise. Do your parents let you go to night parties with friends? The party was fun. We did a great performance, and our friends made a video of it. After that, a guy from college, Jackson, came up to me and said that I was a very cool singer. I liked him immediately. We chatted for 2 hours and Jackson took my number and then asked me to slow dance. Something had obviously sparked between us. And now, having fun with Jackson, I noticed the formidable figure of my mother. It turned out that she had arrived earlier and found out about the party. My mother started yelling at me in front of everyone. I was too ashamed to say a word. Grabbing my arm, she pulled me into the car. All the way, she scolded me for wasting my time on some nonsense and rock parties. I tried to explain to her that by performing, I owned my guitar skills so that I didn't screw up on stage. But my mother said that it would be better if I continued to study piano. I studied, only the piano was not for myself and rock music really inspired me. But she wouldn't even listen to me. Therefore, in fear that I would be punished, I did not dare to tell her about the contest and the clip. At home, the scandal continued. My father realized that I didn't keep my promise and didn't call my mother, but he decided to stand up for me and said that it was his fault and he should have called her. He wanted to tell her about the contest, but I made it clear with my gestures that no, not now. After a couple of hours, my mother calmed down, but punished me for disobedience by forcing me to clean the garage. And it was so dirty that I could spend my whole life cleaning it. I just went to my room in silence, not understanding why I was being punished. Trying to somehow calm down, I asked my friends to send me a video from the party and edited our performance all night. The next day, Lisa and I sent our video to night guards. They almost immediately wrote that this was the best performance of all the ones they've gotten and invited us to open for them. Happily, I ran to tell my parents about it. After all, seeing my achievements, my mother would not judge me and would support me. After watching the clip and learning about the victory in the competition, my father hugged me and congratulated me, saying that he always believed in me. My mother, though restrained, also praised me. So I safely asked my parents to let me open for the band. But my mother, as always, ruined everything. She said that she had a lot of work to do and my father had already called a repairman to do the roof for that day. So they were busy and couldn't come with me. And if they couldn't go, then I wouldn't go to a place like this alone because I was only 16. My father tried to help me, said he could defer the repair, but she stood firm. At this point, my patience ran out and I yelled at my mother for the first time, accusing her of hating me and my passion for rock music. I ran into the room, not paying attention to the words of my parents. In the morning, I got a call from Jackson asking me out to a movie. I agreed, but then I looked back and realized that there was still a lot of work to do in the garage. I was so angry at my mother and her inhibitions that I just gave up and went on a date. We watched movies, walked, had fun, and even kissed. Oh my god. At the end of the day, Jackson suggested that I start dating him. It was so quick and unexpected, we barely knew each other. But then I remembered my mother, her reproaches and hatred for everything I did, and I agreed to be Jackson's girlfriend. I felt safe with him. At home, I immediately noticed that someone was opening my messages on the computer. Who else could it be besides my mom? I was furious. I wanted to tell her everything, but she told me, as usual, that I went out with an older guy and didn't clean the garage, so now I was grounded for a week. My father tried to protect me and said that reading other people's messages was bad. He was always on my side. But my mother also snapped at him, saying that he was to blame for my dissolute lifestyle. I was fine, but she didn't dare touch my father, so I couldn't stand it. Called her a tyrant who was ruining both of our lives, took my guitar, my backpack, and left the house. My father tried to catch up with me, but to no avail. I called Lisa and told her what had happened. My friend offered to let me stay with her, especially since her parents were on vacation. Maybe my mother would be scared and calm down. I told my father I was safe, but I wasn't coming home yet. The next day, I went for a walk with Jackson. We drove his car late into the night, and at the end of the day, we watched the sunset from the top of the city. I had never felt so good, but apparently, all these moves were not my thing, and when we went back down, I got seasick and threw up in Jackson's car. And instead of helping me, he started swearing, said it was his parents' car so he wouldn't take me home, but would go to the car wash. I had to walk all the way to Lisa. I felt so bad and sad that Jackson had done this to me. Maybe I shouldn't be this way to my parents? No, it was my mother's fault. With her restrictions and stupid rules, she has driven me to a dead end. When I came to Lisa, she said that my parents had called her. I was upset, but the nausea didn't go away. So I called my father and told him everything and asked for help. He comforted me and said that he would be back soon. However, he did not come alone, but with my mother. She was furious, and when she found out that Jackson was from that party, She took me home. At home, I started to feel sick again. My father began to help me, and my mother took the guitar and locked it in the closet, saying that now I would only study piano, no rock. My father said that she was overreacting with her punishments. They began to argue with each other and accuse each other of bad parenting. Of course, I sided with my father because he supported my dreams. Unlike my mother, she was a real tyrant. My mother said that I was not going to get anything serious in music and that these parties were just an excuse for my laziness. I couldn't stand it and reminded my mother again that she was just jealous of me because she worked like hell without a personal life and dreams, unlike me. If that was why she hated me, then she should have left me in the hospital, so why ruin both of our lives? My mother began to cry and ran into the room. I was happy to win. But then I noticed my father's stern gaze. He told me that she worked so hard and took a promotion just to save up for the college I wanted. I was in shock. It was so expensive, and my mother said last year that they couldn't afford such an expensive tuition. My father sent me to my room and told me that he was disappointed in my behavior. At night, Jackson called and asked for money for cleaning the car, and Lisa said that my mother was to blame for everything. I started to cry and realized that I was confused. I got up early, made breakfast, and cleaned the house. I blacklisted Jackson and asked Lisa not to judge my mother. Seeing the broken state of my mother, I suggested that my parents take a vacation and go to rest together. She hugged me, apologized for being too strict, and agreed to take me to the performance. I promised that in the future I would be more reasonable and go to the college of my dreams. Subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss new stories.